We got to be ready to roll here. So, hello and good day. In algebra, we're doing PO4, multiplying and dividing integers and fractions. That's where our focus is going to be today. And really, the multiplication and division, this is going to be kind of a theme as we work through things in pre-algebra. There are certain things that we'll start with addition and subtraction and then move to multiplication and division. The multiplication and division is actually a little bit easier because it turns out there are less rules for that. Okay, we still have a little table to fill out here, and the table in PO3 with adding and subtracting, we really had to look at the operations between the numbers, where we were starting, which direction on the number line are we going. Lots of different rules there with adding and subtracting. A little bit less when it comes to multiplication and division of integers. You can probably help me fill this out. A positive multiplied or divided by another positive is what? What sign does that have? Gino. A positive multiplied or divided by another positive will have a positive. Okay? That's how you started first learning your multiplication tables, right? You got something like, do I have one here? Do I even have, yeah. It's only 32 divided by 4. Just standard fact. Those facts that you should memorize, probably third grade, whatever, okay? That's going to be positive 8. A positive multiplied or divided by a positive is a positive. A positive multiplied or divided by a negative is a negative. And because of the commutative property, which says that you can multiply things in any order, that also means that if the negative number comes first and it is multiplied by a positive, that doesn't change the end result. It's still going to end up being a negative product or quotient. Right? Here we have 8 times negative 3, positive number times a negative number. Here we have negative 10 times 6, a negative number times a positive number. Both are going to have a negative product because you can rewrite this to be 6 times negative 10, and it's the same thing. You can multiply things in any order. So if you have one of each symbol, one of each sign, regardless of which one comes first, it's going to be a negative answer. And then lastly, if you have a negative, a double negative, we talked about this a little bit yesterday too with English, right? A negative multiplied or divided by a negative actually ends up being positive. Okay. General rule of thumb here, if your two signs are the same, both positive or both negative, it's going to be positive. If your signs are different, one's positive, one's negative, regardless of the order, it's going to be a negative answer. Okay, that's kind of how you can easily tell. So then you've got several to practice with here. Again, obviously, you're not going to be allowed to use a calculator on this objective on the test, so I would not recommend using one here to find the answer. However, if you're unsure, you can use check the answer. That's okay there. Most calculators that you're using now have a distinct subtraction button and a distinct negative sign button. So make sure that you're pressing the correct one. If you were to take negative 10 times 6 and hit minus, the minus sign, minus 10 times 6, you'll probably get an error message, and that would be the reason why. Okay, there is a distinct negative and subtraction button. Questions on integers? Thrilling. All right, on to fractions. Fractions, we said earlier that kind of the multiplying, dividing here can sometimes be easier. It's got less rules. For multiplying and dividing fractions, what don't we have to worry about? What don't we have to worry about? This is beautiful. Miranda, those lousy common denominators, right? We can just multiply or divide without having to get those first. So to multiply fractions, if you have a mixed number, I recommend going to an improper fraction first, okay? But then you're just multiplying straight across. Negative 13/12 times 3/5. Of course, what sign will this product have? Is it going to be a negative or a positive product? Negative, because we got a negative 13/12 times a positive 3/5. Okay? But then going straight across, 13 times 3 is 39. 12 times 5 is 60. If you can simplify, you should. You can simplify before you actually do the multiplying, right? Or you can wait till the end. Doesn't make a difference. We can divide each by 3, 39 and 60, and we get negative 13/20 as a final answer. Right? Negative 13/20 as a final answer. What was that? Oh, all right. Someone explain to me how we divide fractions. Let's take 9/10 divided by 8/7 here. What's your favorite method to divide fractions? Seba?
Multiply the numerator times the denominator of the other fraction.
Right. So one method is using cross products, okay, which says that we are going to multiply actually in a cross-like fashion. We're going to take that numerator of one, multiply it by the denominator of the other. 9 times 7 is 63. Here's where I always got messed up growing up as a kid. Where does that 63 go in our quotient answer? Is it the numerator or is it the denominator? Or does it matter? Joey?
It's the numerator.
How do you know that?
Since 9 is on the left side and it's on top.
Right. The position of the number in your first fraction is the position where that product 9 times 7 is going to be in your answer. So 9 times 7 gives us 63. That will be in the numerator there. And then 10 times 8, that 10 being in the denominator of that first fraction, this product, 80, is going to go in the denominator of our answer. And we get 63/80ths, which cannot be simplified, and so we leave it as such. Is there another way to divide fractions? What's your favorite way, Adam? Yep. So you take that second fraction and you flip it. Okay. So the second way to do this, we would get 9/10, but instead of 8/7, we're going to write 7/8. And then what happens to our operation here? We're multiplying. The reason why we can do this is because either way, whether you leave it written as division and use cross products, or you flip that second fraction and multiply, we're still multiplying 9 times 7, right? Because if it's written as multiplication, now we're going straight across, and because we flip that second fraction, well, now the 7 is straight across from the 9. So we still get 63, and we still get 10 times 8, 80. We get the same answer either way. I always liked method 2 growing up because I didn't have to worry about where the 63 went, because I just knew if I flip that second fraction, I'm multiplying 9 times 7, 63. That's going to stay in the numerator. Once I got it figured out, though, once the light bulb clicked, now I usually go with cross products there. But either one's fine. Okay, both get you the same result. All right. Again, I assume this is review, multiplying, dividing fractions. Okay. Any questions that you have about this? I mentioned with mixed numbers, such as 15/8 divided by negative 3/2, I would convert negative 3/2 to negative 7/2 first. And so now you can do your cross products, your flipping, or whatever you want to do for that. Okay. So mixed numbers converted to improper fractions first. Yes?
Can you, like, diagonally reduce? You have to do it, like, if you were to flip the reciprocal, do you have to do it before or after?
You can reduce at any point. You can reduce when it's written as division and then flip that second fraction. You can flip it first and then reduce. Of course, your direction changes for how you can reduce, since this operation changes to multiplication here, or you can reduce at the very end. Okay. Personally, I just always reduce at the end, just easier for me. But you do you, whatever works. Okay. Anything else? Great. All right. Well, in that case, folks, that is how you math.